Okay, so I'm going to talk about what we're doing about IUU. So I'm Simon Tucker, CEO of SRT, which I founded 20 years ago, so overnight success after 20 years. And this is a case study of one of our customers, the Philippines, who in the last 3 years has invested $40 million in building a fully integrated fisheries monitoring system. I'd just like to share with you what they've achieved. And now they're moving on to the next phase of investment, which is numbered around $100 million in the next 3 years. So they really are taking this seriously, and I'd just like to publicly commend them for that. So the key with the system that we're delivering to the Philippines is that it's cost-effective. It's all very well to talk about fancy monitoring capabilities, but if it's going to cost $50 a month per fishing boat, and you have 200,000 of them, it's just not viable. And so we developed a system that is cost-effective for all boats, from the smallest fishing boat to the largest tuna clipper, which is out in the Western Pacific fisheries. And that is without compromising on functionality, so IUU detection, and in fact, actually improving upon the older style systems. And the result of that is you have a real deterrent, and what we're aiming for is natural compliance and happy fishermen. Because if everyone's happy, they're naturally going to comply, and you haven't got to go around saying, well, you can't fish there, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's much more involved in community, and we have achieved that with the Philippines. So what are they trying to achieve? Sustainable resources. There is a commercial element to this. They're trying to increase their exports, and they're trying to improve local food security. And if you get all the IUU right, this is a natural result of it. So the benefits of the system go across 3 people. There's the fishers, so sustainable catches, improved safety, better admin, and a higher income. They can sell their fish into international markets. For the agency itself, in this case, BFAR, which is the Philippine Fisheries Ministry, you're talking about regulation compliance, particularly with the EU, Western markets where they want to sell their tuna and other fish. Optimize costs. What do I mean by that? Is they want to monitor all their fishing boats, not just a few of them, and therefore they need to do it at low cost. Active fisheries protection, I'm not going to go through them all, you can read them, improve food security, etc. So how is this being achieved? So the first thing is we have a program where a new type of VMS transponder is being installed on the vessels, and all of the fishermen have an application on their mobile phone which enables them to electronically record their fish catch as it's happening. 132 coast stations have been installed, which enables free tracking out to about 50 kilometers. Beyond the 50 kilometers, these transmissions are received by a variety of different satellites. All of that data goes back to a central data center in Manila, and then is shared out across 17 different offices, where 62 different operators are all working as a team on that same data to track and monitor all their fishing boats. And today there's 5,000. Their aspiration is in the next 5 years to expand that to about 150, 200,000 boats. So key features of the system are that you have a national network of long-range AIS coast stations. These are one of the towers, and you have a little antenna that just pops on the top of that. And so that gives them free monitoring of all the artisanal boats. Not paying GSM airtime or any of that nonsense. It is entirely free to operate. And the vast majority of fishing boats, small fishing boats, don't go beyond that area. There are advanced multi-sensor coast stations like this with radar and cameras, which actually go in the big fishing ports, and that stops the IUU that actually happens in the ports. And they can detect automatically vessels going out. They can reference whether that particular vessel with that particular license is the right one that is going out. Satellite tracking uses encrypted SIS AIS, and actually, because of the number of satellites are up there, once every 30-minute update worldwide is achieved. So far and away ahead of the once every 3 hours. And if any of you were at my innovation thing yesterday, you can see the massive difference of what a boat can do in those 3 hours when they're being tracked every 30 minutes. It dramatically improves your granularity and understanding. The other thing is this electronic catch reporting using mobile devices. I mean, it struck us many years ago that most of the fishermen had a better mobile phone than I did, smartphone, and so by enabling that with an application and having that integrated into the system, immediately they can now communicate backwards and forwards. They can report their fishing catches. They can be audited. The fishing authority can send them notifications. You can have dynamic quota management. The world sort of opens up in terms of communication. And critically, this is all integrated into a single system that everybody is using as a common platform. So you haven't got different files and different departments and all that sort of stuff going on. It enables the entire fleet to be managed by a single system. So start with the vessel tracking. All the vessels are equipped with a transponder. It's a dual-mode VMS transponder. Dual mode means that this will communicate with coast stations, with patrol vessels, with drones, as well as with satellites. When they're in port areas or coastal areas, every 1 to 5 minutes, the position and the status of the vessel is updated. When they are beyond territorial waters and out in the deeper ocean, it's once every 30 minutes. Critically, although we're using AIS as the communication protocol, it's fully encrypted. So the privacy of the fishermen is protected. The authorities can see them. The other fishermen can't see them. And this is extremely important both for data protection laws that actually the Philippines has, but also for cooperation with the fishermen feeling that their privacy is being protected. All of the transponders have anti-tamper and anti-spoofing, so you can't switch them off. If somebody tries to switch them off for tamper, they sort of shout and give an alert before they switch off. And of course, SOS in case they're in trouble. Here is an example of one of the transponders that is installed with the Connect Fish application here. This is wireless as well, so they can take this and walk around the boat. It connects by Bluetooth to the transponder and is constantly transmitting what the fisherman is communicating back to the system, as well as them receiving messages from the system itself and alerts if they're fishing in the wrong place at the wrong time. Extremely convenient. But it's also a feedback loop back to the fisherman, so he can look at his stats. Did he have his best productivity with fishing? What is the pricing? What is his history over the last 3 months of catches? What has his earnings been? All those sorts of things, which make them see this as a very valuable tool, and therefore actually use it. Catch auditing. All of the port inspectors all have tablets, which have another application on it called what we call Connect Inspect. That is again linked into the system in real time. So any boat that is coming in, they can immediately check and see what they've been catching, and whether actually that is what they're landing. Also, when they're going out as observers on Coast Guard boats or on fishery patrol boats, they can also use that same device to then go on board and check. So integrated intelligence, all of that data comes back into this big data center that we've built in Manila and is then displayed in one of 17 monitoring centers. This is one of them in Quezon City in Manila. And there are 14 people sitting in this particular one, and they all are tracking the vessels in real time. And it has very advanced IUU detection, so all this data gives you the possibility to apply analytics, not just, oh, they've switched the transponder off, so they must be doing something naughty, but actually to really look at the behavior of the vessel in proximity to its environment, which is also dynamic and changing. And so the next bit is all about feeding in that amount of data to enable you to have much greater IUU detection. So the first thing is, obviously, if you've got lots of data going into the system, you see lots of targets. And if lots of vessels are fitted with a transponder, you see lots of targets. Some you know about, some you don't. If you're overlaying AIS, RF, VERS, SAR, you have a whole load of targets. What we do is we build up this rather grainy picture here, is we use what are called dynamic analytics, and we create a dynamic activity geofence layer, which is this. And basically, there are normal patterns built up over time of what vessels do. So perhaps they might be transitioning from an anchorage area, which is known, to a known fishing area. And they always go this way because of there's a reef here or something. But there are known patterns of operating. And if you can create that dynamic layer, just as an example, that gives you so much more information to stop false positives on illegal fishing. So, if a vessel is going following that corridor to the fishing area here, he's probably not doing anything wrong. But if he suddenly goes over here, well, why is he going over there out of the normal routes? And the analytics in the system constantly updates this, not just from the vessel movements, but also from the reports, from the observers, from the fishermen themselves. All of that is feeding into it to create that dynamic layer. The result is you have on the display here, you can see these corridors with all these different areas, and you can very quickly, particularly when you then combine it with very high resolution tracking, you can very quickly determine whether there's an IUU event going on with a high degree of accuracy. So that amount of data, the greater tracking capability, all of that combines in order to have much better IUU detection, much better understanding of what that IUU event is. And as a result of that, the system has much greater credibility and deterrence, which brings me back to this natural compliance that we're seeking to achieve. There's no point, in our opinion, this is where the Philippines has really stood out with adopting our system and pushing it forward. There's no point in regulation trying to force 200,000 fishermen spread across 8,000 islands to comply with regulations that they don't really believe in. If there is a credible system that they know will be monitoring them and is fair and giving them feedback, then you start to get this natural compliance and you have happy fishing people. And so that is what the Philippines has achieved in the last 3 years on a national scale, and that will be expanded in the next 3 years to cover their objective is 200,000 of their fishing boats. That's all. Any questions?
Yeah. Any questions? We've got a microphone.
Chat there.
There's one on its way.
Thank you. My name is André. I'm working for the Center of Marine and Environmental Research in the University of Algarve, here in the south of Portugal. And thanks for the presentation. That was very interesting and a super relevant topic, especially in a diverse place like the Philippines. My question is regarding the connection between this app and the positioning, and how is it done, the prediction of the fishing activity, if the fisherman has to log in and say that they are fishing, or if you conclude that by the positioning and the behavior. And if so, like which parameters do you use to conclude they are fishing or not? And I have another second quick question about like if this system it's compulsory, because all the vessels in the Philippines, the fishing vessels above a certain size, they already carry a VMS system, and if this is like complementary to this VMS, or if it's like something new.
Okay. Big questions, and I notice I'm out of time already. I'll answer the second one first. Yes, it is compulsory, but they're not trying to enforce it in a hard way. So they're trying to get natural compliance. And so by showing, starting off with the bigger fishermen and certain key leaders in what they call the FMA regions, they're trying and seeing the benefits and let that spread through the fishing community. They're getting natural adoption and natural compliance. On your first question, in an ideal world, the fisherman, when he gets on the boat, says, I'm going out fishing and this is where I'm going. And he can do that from his Connect Fish app. But if he chooses not to do that, then the vessel is being monitored by a transponder which can't be removed from the vessel or switched off. And so analytics look at the characteristics of the behavior of the vessel, where it is and what it's doing, as to whether we think it's actually fishing in the right area, and it really is fishing, or actually it's gone somewhere else and he's trying to fish where he shouldn't be.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Yes, sir.
My name is Steve Andrews. I'm the author of this book, Saving Mother Ocean. And what I wanted to ask you about is food safety, basically. It's all very well like people, catching all this fish from the sea and lots of seafood. But what I'm worried about is the actual pollution of this food. Like, for example, mercury is really bad, and we're getting like microplastics in the fish now. And I'm thinking of the UK. The UK is now seriously getting polluted all around the coast and the rivers with sewage. So have you got anything to say about any of that, about the safety of the food that people are getting?
I've got lots to say about everything. I mean, our system with the Philippines is simply to stop IU and make sure that people are catching the fish where they should be under their licensing. I can tell you that within BFAR, that topic that you've just raised about effectively food safety is high on the agenda. And they're looking at how then they integrate different sensors into that system, the traceability once it gets onto the dock, the random testing of the fish, and also educating the fishermen. I mean, one part of this project is educating the kids and explaining why this is all important and why mum and dad should have this on their vessel and they should fish sustainably. Actually, that works better than anything else, actually.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck with your book.
Thank you. I think we're going to have to move on, even if we've got more questions. But can I have a round of applause for Simon? And really interesting presentation.